Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Player Display for another Customizer Showcase. I have been knee-deep in a whole bunch of projects at the moment. Like, I've been trying to mod the Bat Family, I have a lot of new things coming in the mail. I even have the NECA Superman and Alien over here, which we will be reviewing in due time. And I have also learned to make my very own wired capes. So, I have a lot of projects going on right now, so I haven't been totally sure what to review, what to look at lately, so I figured, relax, let's just look at something that's already complete, that's already been finished in this volley of custom projects I've been working on lately. So over here I have my highly overdone DC Multiverse McFarlane Scarecrow as he appeared in Infinite Frontier, but I totally modified him to my own liking. So I guess the best place to start is when I initially got the figure. We did not review him. I got that figure with the McFarlane Weapons Pack version 2. He was pretty heavily discounted. He's not a very sought-after figure. He's really easy to get if you want him. I got him thinking, oh, I could repaint him. He's an interesting looking design. I could do something with like the grays and stuff to make him a little more comic accurate. I got the figure, and then I realized just how crap he was. There's, not that it's a bad looking figure per se, but there's so many layers of solid plastic on him. He's impossible to move. He's basically a statue with, limited articulation. But one thing I found when I started peeling him apart for fodder for other figures is that there's actually a pretty decent base body under there. So combine that with a really neat looking head sculpt, and then I'm thinking this is a good, like, I don't know, Rebirth style Scarecrow base that you could use for custom or something like that. I also had a little bit of the Matt Reeves Batman in mind, so I don't know, I was thinking along that track when it came to building my own original take on Scarecrow, although with some nuances from other iterations that I've seen in the past. Sorry, let me move my camera over here a little bit. So basically I've had that figure for months. Then I decided recently to turn him into something a little bit more interesting. So pretty much the process with that is I do actually have some shots here, as I usually do whenever I have a custom project and I want to talk to you about it. I first had my main components being the base figure totally stripped of everything. So we took away the hair, the really stupid looking hat, all the solid garments and everything, just so you had the base plain Jane figure. And then I also had some cloth left over from, remember when we did that Return of the Living Dead Tarman custom? I used the Creep from Creepshow as a base, and left over from that, I had the cloak. And I kept the cloak in my soft goods bag, just knowing that one day it would be neat for a custom. And lo and behold, I thought it would fit really well here. And the last component I wanted to do, one that was, it was extremely awkward to look up a tutorial on how to make one, but in homage to the Arkham games, I wanted to make a noose. So that was the third component, so I added that into this design. So basically the next step I did is I thought about, okay, I'm going to be painting some parts of this figure, I'm not going to be painting other parts, so I decided to prime the parts that I wanted to paint up with a spray. So I did that and covered everything else with plastic wrap. So that was no issue. Simple little life hack. Like, all I wanted to spray was the head, the torso, and a little bit of the arms, not too much, and then leave the rest as is, because the arms are going to be covered by the soft goods anyways, doesn't matter. And then as for the legs, I did want to keep the black, so I left those as is. With all the things I wanted primed, ready to go, I was able to paint and everything I wanted to do, and this is where we're at. So anyhow, let's go ahead and look at this Infinite Frontier Scarecrow version 2, if we may call him that. Also got him on a Spawn base for whatever reason. No, there is a reason, because he does have some fodder from this Spawn Soul Crusher, who I bought specifically for fodder, and that's it, because I'm not a Spawn fan for some reason. But anyhow, let's just look at what I did with this figure. So, starting up at the head sculpt, I will actually take down the hood, which has some wiring in there, and I don't want to ruin that, so I'm just going to peel it back, and that's all. Here is the mask, which is absolutely awesome. It's a great, great head sculpt. I could see people using this for a lot of customs that are not just for the Scarecrow, but I did go the messy route. I intentionally did not want him to look clean, gave him a little bit of brown, did the stitching work with some marker, also kept the trunk, I guess, of this gas mask black. I really love this snoot of the gas mask. It feels very Garandan from Star Wars, Kubaz, so I thought that looked really interesting. And one thing I wanted to do is something I've done with other figures in the past. For the lenses, it wouldn't be enough for me to just paint it a solid color, but if you wanted it to have an almost glowing feel from the distance without it actually being glowing, first paint it in completely with a darker color, then paint it in a little bit smaller with a medium color, then paint it even smaller on top with a brighter color. So as you can notice here, I actually have 3 different shades of red, borderline pink, in the lenses there to give them almost this glowing feel. So that's a little trick for you if you want to attempt that with some of your own custom projects. Going around here, I kind of implied that the mask kind of hooked around to the bottom of his head or something like that. There's be some flesh showing, but then he has no ears, so we'll just ignore that. But again, that's what the hood is here for, so that's going to be on there for all time. I see no reason why I'd want to put that down, except for showing you what I did underneath, so you can make a custom like this on your own. But there we are there. As for the hood, speaking of that, we do have the Creep's cloak. I did totally repaint this. Basically what I did, it's a pretty good sheet method if you just want dirty soft goods. All I did is I kind of globbed on some black, brown, I think some gray paint just throughout the cape, on the inside, on the sleeves, on the outside, on the hood, everywhere, and scrunched it up, then ran it right under the sink, and that gave it a very muddy and inconsistent texture, which I really love. Makes it feel very stained, unwashed, and dirty. As we know, Scarecrow, at least from the Arkham games, he's a very unsanitary-looking character. He was dragged into the sewers at one point, so that does make sense. Obviously, there is a lot of Arkham inspiration going into this. And that's a perfect segue into the noose, which I won't talk about for very long because I know it's a sensitive subject, but I did make a noose out of some rope that I had from, I think it was like a tag on a suit or something like I had, like a real suit, like for interviews and crap, the important stuff. Not been interviewing recently. I've been very comfortable where I am lately, but anyhow, let's move past the noose and talk about some more things that are more in brevity, I suppose. I did repurpose the tubes that were hanging off the initial figure from the Infinite Frontier Scarecrow, and I repainted them in a brighter green and also gave them a little bit of weathering in there. So they look like they're acrylic tubes with the fear toxin going through them, so that was pretty interesting. Also worth talking about the torso. Back in my 3.75-inch collecting days, I was doing strictly Star Wars, and I still have some custom fodder left over from those figures. And I had a lot of cloth from my Tusken Raiders, so I used that and to basically cover the entire torso, and that's part of the reason why I didn't really need to prime the torso. I did anyways, but that's another reason why you would not need to prime a part if you know it's going to be covered by something else. Like same goes for the arms and everything. So I slapped on some Tusken Raider soft goods, glued it down, gave it some weathering, and one thing I did throughout this figure is I have a little bit of green splatter to kind of imply that the fear toxin's kind of leaking out, like you see it on the snoot as well of the gas mask. So that's something I wanted to do. So, yeah, a lot of fun little decisions with this figure. Continuing on to the hands, which are, I think, my favorite part of the original stock figure. We have a whole bunch of tubes, and you got the fingers and stuff. I didn't do a whole lot of repainting here. I kept the flesh tone. I gave it a little bit of brown to give it some dirt. And then I also magnified the green down here. I didn't give it any weathering in the needle portions, but I did do the same green with a little bit of wash on top that I did over here with the main tubes. Actually, I don't think I did a black wash. I think it was like a dark, almost olive green at first. Then I just did a little bit of light green on top of that. And then it looked like just some tubes with some fluid running throughout it. So not much going on with the hands, but the hands are great. They're well articulated and everything. They got a good hinge, and he could do his gesturing, his monologuing, whatever, being the arrogant bastard that he is, so claiming that he's got full control of the system, when of course at the end of every comic he does not, but Anyhow, we do have a belt here, and this is the custom fodder that I used from the Spawn Soul Crusher. I figured if we have Scarecrow running around Arkham, maybe he's recycling a belt from GCPD or something like that. So I like how he feels very cobbled together in that way. He has an element that wouldn't really belong to him, that would be from a different character. So I thought that would be pretty interesting. And I also did in the silver buttons and buckles that was not already on the stock figure. So I had to do that myself. Going down to the legs, this is where we have the least changes, just because I thought they already looked pretty good. I did a brown wash. I think there might be some gray in there. I might have passed from the gray. I don't know. Again, a little bit more of that green, kind of speckled throughout. Very, not too generously, just a little bit here and there. And then also got some shoes, and I did do a little bit of brown on the shoes, so got those a little bit dirtied up. So, yeah, very nice. I guess I'll pose them up a little bit more. As I say, I really enjoyed making this figure. I thought he was a lot of fun to do. It's just nice to, once in a while, go into your fodder bin if you don't have one, or assuming that you have one, I mean, whether you're a customizer or not, or if you're beginning to customize, go through the figures that you don't really like as much, that are expendable, just figures that are relatively cheap, that, you're not blowing a fortune by taking them apart, and then you're just going through the, 2 or 3 figures and you're realizing, wow, this head would look really neat on this body. And for me, I guess I was going through my soft goods, thinking about how to make custom capes, which we will do a tutorial on one day, in the coming future. That's on my bucket list. And then I came across this creep cloak, and I figured, wouldn't this be great for a Scarecrow of some sort? Wait a minute, I have a Scarecrow fodder body in my bin already. So I put those together, and this is what we got. And yeah, it's not accurate to any comic or anything, but I still kind of dig him. He looks pretty neat. So here, I'll put the stand back under him. Actually, I just went through my old McFarlane collection and stood everyone back up, so that's why I am lacking just a standard DC stand. So I just had a Spawn one left over, but I also really like how you can get some tilt to make him look a little more crooked. I like how he doesn't have to strictly be Scarecrow either. He could just be a generic villain to go against any of your heroes. I just feel like he could fit in a lot of different universes. I like how he's pretty standard, but at the same time, drop him right next to Batman. You know exactly who he is straight off the bat. No pun intended. But yeah, pretty quick, fun custom to do. I did him in, I think, a day. He was pretty simple to do. Just some repaint, weathering, gluing stuff on, taking stuff off of other figures and just slapping it onto this new one. And yeah, came out pretty good. I don't know. What do you guys think about it? Yeah, and let me know what other customs you've done in the past, what you're most proud of, what skills you've used. If I've done something here that's really stupid, let me know. Then maybe that's something I can improve on in a future custom or something like that. Not that I'm going to change this guy. I love him a lot as is. He is done. But I like learning new things. So teach me a few things in the comments. Hopefully I've taught you a few things as well. And that's going to pretty much wrap up this customizer showcase. So all that being said, hope you enjoyed. And if you did, then please, as per usual, be sure to like, comment,
ring the bell to be notified of our latest arrivals, and subscribe.
This is the editor speaking, humbly reminding you to support the pod Patreon in the description to guarantee new content every single week.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Rock on, and I will see you all later.